بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدي وحبيبي أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهاديين المهديين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم تنزيله: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا منها 4 حرم صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد. I am not sure how much time we have. I just wanted to talk about the importance of this month, and then if there are time left, we can talk about other topics, inshallah. This is one of the ayahs in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the importance of some of the month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated, إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شهرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the month to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are 12 months. As we all know, in all the months that we have, they're 12. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continued in the ayah said, Minha arba'atu hurum. Out of the 12 months, Allah said there are 4 which are sacred months. That they are better than the others. I just want to elaborate what are they and why they are sacred months. Number 1 of those months which are 4 sacred months, the first one is Dhul Qa'dah. Dhul Qa'dah is the first one. But now the question is, what makes Dhul Qa'dah holy? Dhul Qa'dah is one of the months, it's the 11th month of the Islamic calendar. What made it to become that holy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it to be holy? Number 1, the reason why Dhul Qa'dah is a holy month because it's one of the month of the Hajj. It's one of the month of Hajj. Let me clarify. Usually we think Hajj is 1 month, right? Dhul Hajj. But that's not the case. There are 3 months in Islam that one can go and start the Hajj in those 3 months. Nas al-Quran. Al-Hajju ashhurun ma'lumat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Surah Al-Baqarah, He said Hajj ashhur, not shahr, not shahrain. Ashhur means month. So Hajj start 3 months. And there are 3 months that even when you go to our fiqh al-Islami, you are allowed to start your Hajj from those 3 months. One of them, the first one is the month of Dhul Qa'dah, and then Dhul Hajj as well. The other one, if you want to go through the list, through the in the order, Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and then Dhul Hajj. When you go to Tafsir Surah Al-Baqarah, Al-Hajju, Surah Al-Baqarah, Al-Hajju ashhur ma'lumat. That a person can start their Hajj in any of these 3 months. How do? You go there, you perform your Umrah, you take your Ihram, you wait until the Hajj, and then you perform your Hajj. And the 3 months are considered the month of Hajj. That's why even us, when we go to Hajj, in which month do we get to Makkah? In Dhul Qa'dah. We go there for Hajj. And our niyyah is Hajj al-Tamattu. And Hajj al-Tamattu is 2 parts. One is Umrah, one is the actual ritual of Hajj. But when you get there in that Hajj, you start in the month of Dhul Qa'dah. That's where you perform your Umrah. And then you wait until the Dhul Hajj comes, and then you perform there the other ritual. But even though from Dhul Qa'dah to Dhul Hajj, There are two different months, but you still consider yourself what? Hajj. So they said that one of the reasons why this month is holy because it's one of the month of Hajj. That is Dhul Qa'dah. Number one. Number two, they said one of the sacred month is Dhul Hajj. Dhul Hajj, as we mentioned, one of the reasons that this month is a holy and sacred month in Islam is because there are 10 important nights in it. And that is what Allah SWT Surah Al-Fajr, it said, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. In tafsir, they say one of the tafsir of the 10 nights that Allah swore by it in Surah Al-Fajr is the night of the 1st till 10th of Dhul Hajj. Yes, there are some other tafsir say وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ means the 10 days of Muharram. There are other tafsir. But one of the tafsir says they are the 10 days of Dhul Hajj. So Dhul Hajj is one of the sacred months because there are 10 important days in it. That is number two. Number three of those months is the Shahr Muharram. Muharram is also considered one of the holy months. And all these brothers and sisters, this, when you go to the history, it's not Islam which brought it up. No. Before Islam, Arabs themselves, they used to respect this month. When you go to when you go to Bihar al-Anwar, and the history of Imam al-Rada, because Bihar al-Anwar has books, so what you call specified for every Imam. There is one for Imam al-Rada. Imam al-Rada, when he talks about the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the Muharram, is one of the things that makes Muharram more difficult on us is that even the non-Muslims before Islam, they used to respect this month. Non-Muslims, those who worship the idols, before Islam, when they fight one another, and then Muharram comes, they pause. They don't fight anymore. Out of respect for this month. Until Muharram is over, then they go back and continue the fight. That is how much they respect this month. And then there come some people who are so-called Muslims, they don't respect this holy month that the non-Muslim used to respect. For that matter, Muharram also is known as one of the sacred months in Islam. That is month number 3. Month number 4 is known as the month of Rajab. These are the 4 months. Minha arba'atu hurum. There is one of the these are the 4 sacred months in Islam. Now, where is Ramadan then? Ramadan, we says, the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Quran. Yes, it's a sacred month. There's no doubt. It's the month that Quran was revealed. But every month has their own specialities. Ramadan is not one of those 4 months. Meaning, one of the special about those 4 months that we just mentioned, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hajj, and Muharram and Rajab, one of the specialities that is not allowed for a Muslim to fight in those months. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala respects those months so much. We're not allowed. In Ramadan, if somebody attacks you, you're allowed to fight. Even look at the first battle in Islam, the Battle of Badr. Which month did it occur? In the month of Ramadan. So these months are separate with their specialities according to the hadith. And then Ramadan also is a sacred month that is also a respected month in Islam. But these are special months according to the hadith. Now, coming to the Rajab, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to see this month, what is the meaning of the word Rajab? Rajab, they asked Imam Musa al-Kadhim, the 7th Imam of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, as to what is Rajab. Then Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam has a Rajab nahrun fil Jannah. It's a river in the heaven that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. And that river, let me put it this way, that river Allah has specified for VIPs. VIPs, right? Special people. Good. Now, who are those VIPs? Imam Musa al-Kadhim continued in the hadith. He said, Inna Allah khassasaha, ay nahar, that river, liman sama fiha. That river is special, is kept for only those who fasted in that month. Meaning, if you want to be a VIP Yawm al-Qiyamah, that Allah is going to give you that river, Nahr Rajab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Imam Musa al-Qabr, is be one of those who fast in that month, and you will be among the VIPs who will be drinking from that river. If you don't, then you are not going to be in that VIPs. That is Imam Musa al-Qadhim alayhi salam. For that matter, Imam Musa, when he talks about the Rajab, he said, Ismun Nahar is a name of a river where Allah chose that name and gave it to one of the month in the 12th month that He created. And the reason is, Allah wanted to give a special treatment for those of His servants who will take a time to fast in the month of Rajab. And that's one of the reasons that makes this month a holy month. That is the meaning of Rajab. Now, this Rajab itself, brothers and sisters, when you go to the hadith, it has so many sayings from the Prophet, from our Imams, about the importance of this month of Rajab. Really, there is so much mentioned hadith about what to do, what not to do, until the end of the month. Now, let me show you some of the hadith that we have about the month of Rajab and how much the Prophet emphasized about this month. Number one of the hadiths about the importance of Rajab, the Prophet ﷺ divided the month into three. The entire 12 month. Month number one, which is started with the month of Rajab, is in Rajab Shahri. That month of Rajab, Allah has specified it just for me. And you know what that means? You know, when the Prophet ascribes something to himself, that means that thing is a special thing. The Prophet ﷺ and Allah, they have something in the Quran. When they ascribe something to themselves, it gives that thing some uniqueness. That's why you see in the Quran, even Allah, He doesn't ascribe things to Himself. When you see Allah ascribe things to Himself, it's very rare. For example, Ibadi, Jannati. It's very rare in the Quran. But when He says that, He wants to give whatever He ascribes to Himself, He wants to give them some kind of honor. And that is what the Prophet also does here. When he said, in Rajab Shahri, Rajab is my month. That is hadith number one. Month number two, it says, wa Ramadan Shahrullah. Ramadan is Shahrullah. And that's why in one of the hadith, before the end of the month of Sha'ban, when the Prophet gives so long khutbah about the month of Ramadan, he said, Ala innahu qad akbala ilaykum shahrullah. He said, indeed, the month of Allah has come to you. Anfasukum fihi tasbih, wa nawmukum fihi ibadah, and so on and so forth. But the point is, Allah chose Ramadan to be His month. That is number two. Month number two, which is between the two, it says, wa Sha'ban shahru ahl bayt. And Ramadan, Shawwal is the month of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. Now, let's come to the hadith, Ya Rasulullah. When you say Rajab is your month, what do you mean? Is it the month that he was born in? No. Is it the month that the Prophet died in? No. How Rajab becomes so special to the point where the Prophet ascribed it to himself? The hadith also come to explain the Prophet ascribed the month to himself because it's the month that the Prophet does a lot of ibadah and he prepared himself for the months to come. In other words, and the month of Rajab is like a training month that you prepare for their. It's like, look at people who play match, soccer or football. They have a training days and then they have match. The day that comes, they're ready to play with their opponent, right? Now, in the month of Rajab and the month of Sha'ban are the two training months that Allah and the Prophet want us to prepare ourselves so we can do better in the march of the month of Ramadan. Meaning, you train yourself in these 2 months so that when Ramadan comes, you are there to be a great servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why you see that at the end of month of Ramadan, we say Eid al-Fitr, ay bulugul fitra. You reach to your nature that the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be. But how do you start and where do you start? From Rajab and Sha'ban and Ramadan. At the end of Ramadan, you become the way your fitrah is supposed to be. The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be. And that is why the Prophet said, Rajab Shahri. So in the month of Rajab, the Prophet start a lot of things. Now one of the things the Prophet does, and I want this to be like a take-home message. Number one of the hadiths that they mention about things that the Prophet does in the month of Rajab, they say, Kathratul Istighfar. Kathratul Istighfar. A lot of asking forgiveness. Because you know, this month, brothers and sisters, is so unique. But let me say, let me come back, but let me take you out and then come back. You know that the month of Rajab is unique also. Because in the month of Rajab, they changed the Qibla of Muslims to Makkah. Changing of the Qibla is one of the big things in Islam too. You know, when you go to Surah Al-Baqarah, you see the Prophet for so long, he is waiting for Allah to change the Qibla to somewhere else. And Quran mentioned, قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. The Prophet and the companions, for so long they've been looking for a new Qibla. Because when they started praying towards the Jerusalem, Jews and Christians, they started mocking them, making fun of them. They said, if your religion is a true religion, you should have your own Qibla. Why using our Qibla? Because we are the one who pray towards Jerusalem. But you say your religion is pure, is new, is unique, but you're still using our Qibla. And this became something difficult upon Muslims. And where did they go? They go to the Prophet, they complain to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, can we do something? This is what they said. The Prophet, when the pressure is on him, he has to put pressure on whom? That is greater. The Prophet also started looking in the heaven. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Allah said, we see, Ya Rasulullah, how much you looking in the heaven, looking for something. You want the Qibla, right? No. That's فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. Don't worry, Ya Rasulullah. We will change your Qibla to a Qibla where you will be pleased. But when did Allah do that? For a long time there was not. The Prophet was waiting. The companions were waiting. Qibla, Qibla, Qibla. Until in the month of Rajab, the Prophet was praying towards the Jerusalem. He prayed Salat al-Dhuhr and the Salat al-Asr. Jibreel came and turned him from Jerusalem to Masjid al-Haram. And that became the Qibla of the Ummah till the day of today. And that took place in the month of Rajab. And that is one of the things that makes the Rajab also a unique month in Islam. Because it's the month of turning and changing the Qibla, which was a big thing for Muslims as well. Now, coming back to the point, I just want to mention this about the importance of the month of Rajab because of this event that took place. Now, coming back to the importance of this month and what the Prophet used to do, one of the things the Prophet used to do is Kathratul Istighfar. You know, brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in one of the hadith, he said, إِنَّنِي أَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ فِي كُلِّ يَوْمَ مِئَةُ مَرَّةٍ. Every single day, I do istighfar 100 times. The Prophet, if the Prophet does istighfar, what about us? That's Rasulullah, he doesn't have any sin, ma'asum, but he always say, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. But we are the sinners, and we're quiet, like we're okay. We're covered. Rasulullah, he does istighfar every single day. But when the month of Rajab comes, he multiplies the istighfar. Some narrations say, how much do you think he multiplies? And narrations say, in the month of Rajab, instead of 100 times, he does 1,000 istighfar. That is why they call it Shahrul Istighfar, the month of Istighfar, because it's the month the Prophet does a lot more than the other month. That is number one. Number two, one of the highly things the Prophet used to do in the month of Rajab, Kathratus Siyam, a lot of fasting. You start the training. Before the Ramadan comes, you start the training where? In the month of Rajab. Now, they say, according to the hadith of the Prophet, if you can fast the entire month of Rajab, it's highly recommended. If you cannot, They say at least one should pick certain days and fast to get the blessing of this month. What are the days? Number one, they said if you can fast Mondays and Thursdays of this month, and especially the first Thursday, which is tomorrow. The first Thursday of the month of Rajab is one of the important nights. When you go to the hadith, there are some a'mal that is highly recommended. 12 rakah and 8 rakah, Surah Al-Fatiha and Qadr, and then Surah Al-Tawheed 12 times, and then other du'as that you read. There are many recommendations from our scholars and our imams. Now, one of the things one can do in the month of Rajab is to fast Mondays and Thursdays, if you can. That is one. Number two, if you cannot fast Mondays and Thursdays, let's say we're busy, we have a lot of things to do, you can fast. They say at least pick the second option, pick at least like 9 days in the whole month. Like 3 days and the first 10 days, and then 3 days and the second 10 days, and then 3 days in the last 10 days. You pick them. Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever you can. At least from the first 10 days, get 3 days. The second 10 days, get 3 days. And then the last 10 days, get another 3 days. Now let's say you're too busy for 9 days. So we cut it down, discount, right? Sometimes when you go to store, you want a discount. Allah said, I'm going to give you a discount. What is the discount? I say, from 9, I bring you to 3. If you cannot fast the 9 days, at least get 1 day in the first 10 days, 1 day in the second 10 days, 1 day in the last 10 days. Maybe somebody is too busy for 3 days too. The Prophet said there is still discount. What is the discount? They say at least one should fast 1 day in the month of Rajab, so at least you get the blessing of the month. Where first or second last 10 days, or the first or the, it doesn't, just pick 1 day and fast in the month of Rajab. So that way the blessing of the month will also be given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the second recommendation from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Recommendation number 3. According to the hadith, they say one of the recommendation of this month is what we call al-i'tikaf. I'tikaf is isolation in the house of Allah for 7 days. Recommended 10 days. If you cannot, 9 days. If you cannot, 6 days. If you cannot, 3 days. You take a special place in the masjid. What you eat, you drink, you sleep in that masjid, and all you do is ibadah. At least for 3 days, if one can, in the month of Rajab. And you know what? Those people, they call them Rajabiyun. The Rajabis. Meaning, the servant of Allah in the month of Rajab. When you go to every place, especially in Qom, this month is one of the months that you see students are rushing and running to nowhere but the masajid, just to get the opportunity of this holy month of Rajab. Those who do 10 days, those who do 6, those who do 9, those who do 3, whatever you can, that you take this place as one of the places that you spend a time with Allah. See, sometimes we work at least once a year, we work the whole year. And then we pick few days or week or month to take a vacation, right? Now take a vacation with Allah in the month of Rajab. From the people, they say, I'm going to take a vacation from people to Allah. That vacation, I'm just spending time with Allah. The way that sometimes we take a time, I said, I'm spending time with my family, right? Sometimes I said, I don't want to work. This time, these days is just for the family. Now, i'tikaf is to take a time just for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by the way, brothers and sisters, you know, i'tikaf is one of the babullah, that if you have any request, any haja, it doesn't matter how tough, how difficult it is, i'tikaf is one of the answers. And this i'tikaf is recommended in 2 months in Islam. One is in the month of Ramadan, one is in the month of Rajab. The month of Ramadan is the last 10 days if one can. And Rajab, anytime one can, in this month is highly recommended. that one spend time with Allah. In the holy month, you spend a time with Allah, reading Quran, istighfar, asking Allah tawbah, making sure that you reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You start it from now, and then you can connect it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brothers and sisters, let me say this. See, this month of Rajab is very important, at least for people like me. You know why? See, if you want to go to race, you want to race with somebody, and you know your car is an old car, and it doesn't run well, and you want to get there before the person whose cars are new and stronger, what do? You start ahead of them, right? So by the time they say they're going to start, at least you have taken a long time. Now, in the month of Ramadan is the month that people are speeding running to Allah. If your time is good to Allah, you can connect quickly, then you can wait until Ramadan. But people like me, whose tie and the engine is very weak, covered with sand, you can't see properly, this is the time to stop. So that by the time the people who are good and close to Allah come, you are at least close there. And that is one of the opportunities that Allah has built for us, that we start our connection with Allah in the month of Rajab, and then Shawwal before the Ramadan comes. Because remember the hadith of the Prophet, brothers and sisters, when Ramadan comes and ends and you are not successful in the month of Ramadan, you are not accepted, the Prophet says, Ala wa inna ash-shaqiyyu man hurima ghufran Allah fi hadha ash-shahr. Ash-shaqi, the worst one, is the one that the holy month of Ramadan comes and ends and he or she is not being forgiven. But how would you earn that forgiveness? You start from the month of Rajab by asking Allah and struggling, self-cleaning, self-preparation for the month of Allah to come. By the time it comes, you are at least somewhere where you can connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better. In other words, brothers and sisters, let me say this. You have a satellite, you want to catch a nice looking television, right? What do you have to do? You have to set it up properly. Sorry? So now you can connect with your TV so you can see a nice looking pictures. Now you and I, if we want our satellite to connect with Allah so that we can see Him better in the month of Ramadan, this is the time to start setting our satellite up there so we can get the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't wait until the month of Ramadan. No. Because there are two reasons, brothers and sisters. Who knows if you can live to Ramadan? Two, who knows you might not be able to connect even if you live. You might live to see Ramadan, but you might not be able to connect. Two, you don't know if you will reach there or not. So this is the first step that you have to start taking. And the month of Rajab is the time that we start, brothers and sisters. That is one of the recommendations of the month of Rajab, al-i'tikaf, if one can. Taking a time for Allah 3 days. Number 3, one of the recommendations, brothers and sisters, in the month of Rajab, according to the hadith of Ahlul Bayt, is kathratu qira'at al-Quran. A lot of Quran recitation. Now people, I can't read Quran, listen to Quran. Today we all do have an excuse that I can't read Quran. We all have MPs, we have MP3s, we have our phones where Quran can be downloaded and listened to it. One of the recommendation in the month of Rajab is kathratu qira'at al-Quran. One read Quran as much as you can. Even if one can make this as one of the goals in the month of Rajab, is to finish the whole Quran in the month of Rajab. Every day, let's say I'm going to read one juz, like we do in the month of Ramadan. Every day, you give an hour for Allah. 30 juz, you will be able to finish it in the month of Rajab. And you get the best thawab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is one of the actions that the Prophet had recommended in the month of Rajab. One of the recommendation also, brothers and sisters, there are so many of them. One of the recommendation is kathratu sadaqah. A lot of charity. Giving in the month of Ramadan, is highly recommended too. making people to do iftar. I recommend it, but in the month of Rajab, sadaqah is more recommended than any other month. That is another one, which is also highly recommended by our Imams and the Prophet in the month of Rajab, is to at least, if you can, to have people who are fasting in the month of Rajab to break their fast in your cause. You get people to break their fast on your cause. Meaning, you do iftar for people who fast. The same thing like we do in the month of Ramadan. If you know a person, a brother, a sister who fast, you invite them or you cook dinner or something for them. It's a highly recommended in the month of Rajab as well. And you go to the hadith, the thawab of it is unbelievable. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be able to take the benefit of this month, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And Ya Allah, we ask you, as this month started, Ya Allah, don't let it end unless we are among those you will be forgiven in this month of Rajab, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
So I'm sure that inshallah many people are going to be wake up for the suhoor tonight. And